Today, we remember a defining voice in American history. The Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson has died at the age of 84. His family reports he passed peacefully on Tuesday, February 17, 2026, surrounded by loved ones. Born in Greenville, South Carolina in 1941, Jesse Jackson grew up in the deeply segregated South. The everyday realities of Jim Crow shaped his earliest understanding of justice and injustice, and would lay the groundwork for a lifetime of activism. Jackson's path into the civil rights movement began in earnest in the 1960s, when he became involved in student activism and joined the historic marches from Selma to Montgomery. There he stood alongside his mentor, Martin Luther King Jr., participating in some of the most consequential protests of the era. He was present in Memphis, Tennessee, in April 1968 when Dr. King was assassinated, a moment he recalled with profound emotion throughout his life, and which he said strengthened his resolve to continue the work of the movement. As the 1970s unfolded, Jackson became a leader in his own right. He founded Operation Push, People United to Save Humanity, a civil rights and social justice organization dedicated to economic empowerment for Black Americans and other marginalized groups. Push focused on fair hiring practices, corporate accountability, and economic inclusion. In 1984 and again in 1988, Jesse Jackson made history as one of the first African Americans to mount a serious campaign for the Democratic presidential nomination. Though he did not win the nomination, the campaigns energized millions of voters and transformed the landscape of American politics. They highlighted racial and economic inequality as central issues in national discourse, and helped broaden political participation, particularly among Black, Latino, and young voters. In his 1987 autobiography, Straight from the Heart, Jackson reflected on his journey from the segregated South to the forefront of national politics, and framed his life's work as part of a broader moral struggle. The book offers personal insight into his motivations, his triumphs, and his challenges, describing the work of justice as both spiritual and political. Note for producers: read excerpts directly for broadcast where relevant. Jackson also expanded his vision beyond race. In the 1990s, he helped form the Rainbow Push Coalition, a multiracial alliance advocating not only for African Americans but for women, workers, immigrants, and the LGBTQ+ community. This idea of building bridges across communities became a cornerstone of his political and moral philosophy. Throughout his life, Jackson's speeches carried a message of dignity and inclusion. One of his most enduring phrases was simple but powerful: "Keep hope alive." This became a rallying cry during his presidential campaigns and a summary of his belief that progress begins with hope, even when the odds seem impossibly steep. Another guiding thought he offered was, "Our flag is red, white, and blue, but our nation is a rainbow: red, yellow, brown, black, and white, and we are all precious in God's sight." These words reflect his belief that America's strength lies in its diversity, and that civil rights must encompass all who seek justice. Jackson was more than a national figure. He became an international voice for human rights, speaking out against apartheid in South Africa and advocating for humanitarian solutions across the globe. Yet, like many public figures, his journey was not without controversy. His leadership was at times criticized, and his style challenged traditional civil rights strategies. But even critics acknowledged his impact on broadening the conversation around inequality and political participation. In recognition of his contributions, Jackson received numerous awards, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the United States' highest civilian honor. As news of his passing spread, leaders from across the political spectrum paid tribute. Former presidents, civil rights activists, and global figures acknowledged his role in shaping modern America and his lifelong dedication to inclusion, dignity, and justice. His family statement today described him as a, quote, "servant leader not only to our family but to the oppressed, the voiceless, and the overlooked around the world," and urged that his legacy be honored by continuing the work he believed in. Today we close this chapter on a life that spanned the arc of modern civil rights history, from marches in the South to presidential campaigns, from pulpits to public squares. Jesse Jackson's voice helped shape a generation's understanding of justice and the meaning of American democracy. And as he once reminded us, keep hope alive.